Welcome back to the Bitcoin Treasuries podcast. I'm Tim Kotzman. I'm here with Matt McBride. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and also your journey to Bitcoin?
Yeah, sure. So I currently live in Stevensville, Maryland. I've been here for a couple of years now. I've been working in and around the DC area for about 5 years. Want to work in Bitcoin. I've posted some videos. You might have seen me rucking for a Bitcoin job. Really enjoying doing that. It's a new venture for me, you could say, but how I found Bitcoin is an interesting story. I got started in politics. I was a political science major. Did a little bit of everything in the political world. And when I was in college in 2012, Ron Paul was running for president. So naturally, my freedom-loving brain gravitated towards his message, which kind of led me down the path to where I am today of being completely obsessed with everything Bitcoin, consuming Bitcoin content 24/7, and really wanting to be a part of that world and bringing that solution to everybody. So didn't click for me immediately. Had a coworker try and orange pill me in 2014 when I was interning for Ron Paul's organization, and didn't do the work. And my life would be a lot different if I did back then, obviously. But come 2019, 2020, in the professional world for a few years and just having trouble saving money, really. Work hard, save, and then it just never amounts to anything. And then just kept digging into Bitcoin, and it clicked more and more every day. And then, ever since then, I just keep trying to dig deeper.
Awesome. What's your view on all of these Bitcoin treasury companies? You have Strategy and now Metaplanet and dozens of others that are being talked about on social media, and now, well over 100. Hard to keep track day to day unless you go to one of these websites that's tracking everything. But what's maybe your mental framework around, the individuals getting in first, and then we saw the ETFs, so like the institutions, the corporates, now the nation states. What kind of, where are we in this place and time, I guess, in your view?
The exciting part, I would say, I'm a personal testimony to it because, I had the privilege of finding Bitcoin before all these major corporations. I consider the fact that I bought Bitcoin before Michael Saylor as a badge of honor, so to speak. And then I've been interested in the treasury company story as well. I've been an investor in Microstrategy since 2021, 2022. Can't pinpoint exactly when, but I'm a testament to it because my retirement accounts have blown up because of being, I guess you could say, irresponsibly long that company. And then, that's kind of given me the freedom to dabble in the new ones that come on the scene. So, I look into all of them. I follow them. The story is incredibly compelling. It's compelling because it's working. If you look at the data, it's working. And whether some of it right now is FOMO or not, Strategy wrote the playbook. It's out there and people see it now.
Is there anything about your background or kind of your mental framework and how you approach things that you think lent to you getting Bitcoin and it clicking versus, 99% of the people that are just like, I don't know. I don't get it. Is it still a thing? Is Bitcoin? Is that still a thing? I mean, those are like responses that I hear on the street.
No, absolutely. I do too. I hear it all the time. I feel like everyone goes through stages of trying to orange pill people. Sometimes it's aggressive. Sometimes it's like, oh man, I'm beat down over this because I can't get anybody to listen to me. But no, I think, being involved in politics in college and trying to kind of having a presidential candidate speak about freedom and personal responsibility and private property rights. Nobody else was saying that.
Hmm.
Most people still aren't saying that today. So, that led me to dive into freedom. What does freedom mean to me? Why am I, as an individual, persecuted for doing things that I want to do? And that's naturally going to lead anyone with that thought process to Bitcoin. It's freedom technology. So it just went hand in hand, and it's the rabbit hole. Once you start going in it, you don't come out.
Definitely. What aspects of um, business, when you mention, uh, working in the industry, do you think that you're most kind of suited towards, or that you're most interested in? Because you have everything from, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this and leave a lot still on the table, like sales, research, capital markets, strategy. We could go on for a while, like public facing, and then like not public facing, I feel like for a while on the job boards, it was like a CFO, an IT person, a programmer, and I'm like, I'm not those things.
Yeah, and it's been part of the challenge, and it's why I decided to really put myself out there with the Rucking for Bitcoin job videos. I have to separate myself somehow, and I have to get eyeballs on me, because sending somebody a DM or sending a resume without a face to it, just it's not that effective, especially when you're trying to kind of infiltrate a different industry that you haven't been working in. But I would say what I bring to the table that's most relative is I've done a little bit of everything. So I'm comfortable in the back of the house role doing research, compiling data and information, analyzing it, and presenting it to people in a good way, an easy to digest way. And then I'm also comfortable talking to people, regardless of the various roles that I've done in politics and in construction for the past 12 years. I'm always talking to people. I'm always communicating to people of all different levels, personalities, backgrounds. And in the process, I've been trying to tell everybody about Bitcoin. So telling a white collar person and a blue collar person about Bitcoin, their different ideas are going to resonate with them differently. And overall, just being a communicator, I would say.
Makes sense. Are there any resources that you found yourself kind of sending to people that you're having conversations with, whether it's a YouTube link or a book or some other resource that I guess on one hand that you recommend to other people, but then also are there any resources that you use yourself to kind of track and learn and keep a pulse on everything that's going on?
Absolutely. I feel like it's a progression. You can't have people dive in head first. There's just too much information. Bitcoin is a just vast ocean of possibilities, really, whether it's the energy perspective or the scarcity perspective or what have you. So for me personally, I'm a data guy. Every role that I've worked in has data analytics have been involved in some way. So the charts and the numbers speak to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to speak to everybody. I've sent, loved ones, close friends, charts of, the downfall of the dollar, how Bitcoin performs against other assets. It's not always gonna work that way for people. Some people are going to be more attracted to the idea of being better energy, securing the grid. Other people are going to be attracted to uh, just the idea of being your own bank. That's really what led me to it. But once I saw the data, I was like, what am I doing with anything else right now?
Yeah. I guess I'll ask you a question that I have received on two kind of private, but like group calls over the past few days. And that is, they asked, what's your view on these Ethereum and Solana treasury companies versus a Bitcoin treasury company?
Yeah. People have the right to speculate. People have the right to do whatever they want with their money. Do I personally believe it's the wisest thing to do with your money? No. The reason why Bitcoin treasuries work is because there's sound money behind them. And, you know, if you look into Ethereum and Solana, there are people who will who will stand on a hill and shout that they're scarce and that they're decentralized. But when you look at the data, they're nowhere close to what Bitcoin brings to the table. So if you're going to build your house on something that's not the most stable foundation, what's the point of building a house?
Got it. I think the answer I gave was everything's trending to zero against Bitcoin. You just zoom out and literally just, as you said, just look at the chart. What has been the experience in real life? Because we see a lot of stuff on social media, but real life, your network, your family, friends, maybe beyond that, if you've attended, meetups or conferences as far as Bitcoin goes, and I guess just more color on some of those conversations, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like everyone's still asleep at the wheel. I can tell you from not working in the Bitcoin space. I mean, I pretty much live there night and day. Whether it's online, whether it's consuming content from podcasts, reading various books. I'm reading the big print right now. It's awesome. But if you talk to people who aren't in the space and aren't invested, they just have no clue. And I do think it's a deeper societal problem than just understanding Bitcoin, because I'm 35 years old. I'm a millennial. So the majority of my peers, they do the 401k match, and they're told that's what they need to do, and they never look at it. And it's a mutual fund in there that's performing light years below what just simply DCAing into Bitcoin can do for them. But these concepts, when you bring them to people, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for them to work their head around it. Until they know there's a problem, they're not looking for a solution. And I think that idea there resonates with a lot of people who have found Bitcoin today.
What do you think are the maybe top reasons that people are not either open to Bitcoin or understanding and appreciating Bitcoin as a technology?
I think it's just an unwillingness to do the work. Society is very different than it was 50 years ago. Even everything is at the palm of our hands. It's a show me now world, and I should reframe that. It's a show me now United States of America. The way that we live is so different than everyone around the world. We don't have a need for Bitcoin in the same sense that people in other nations that are struggling with hyperinflation or tyrannical governments necessarily need it. Mm-hmm. So it's not on the forefront of the average citizen, especially when you go through, everything has structure these days. There's something you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to school and get married and have children and start your job and work for the man and match that 401k and buy the house and mortgage your life away. And it starts at the foundational level of not teaching sound money and economics at a young age, because, I didn't figure out what sound money was until I was an adult. I had no idea that, dollars were just printed relentlessly and that it was negatively affecting my life. It took me to be negatively affected and to sit there and say, what is happening? I'm working hard. Why isn't this working for me?
Do you think the comparison of Bitcoin to gold, its digital gold, is helpful? Or do you find yourself in conversations comparing it to something else, or to gold, or to like a technology network? Or do you think gold is helpful, hurtful? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm mixed, I guess. I don't necessarily believe in dumbing it down to that. There's so much more to Bitcoin that gold doesn't offer. And I understand the argument for presenting it that way to get people in. But then just staying there and saying, oh, it's just digital gold. I mean, it takes less than 10 minutes to look into the properties of each, and you can realize that it's much more than that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I super appreciate your time today. Can you let people know where to find you online, and also, yeah, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen me on X, it's at Beeftoshi, Beeftoshi. I've been rucking for a Bitcoin job for 5 days now. I've gotten some great feedback. Couple Bitcoin podcasts reached out to me about helping them out with some stuff, and essentially, I'm throwing 25 pounds on my back, and I'm walking at least 5 miles a day. I'm doing it in the toughest circumstances I can manage, whether it was 95 degrees last week or whether it's cooled off a little bit. But I've just reached a point where I need to do something that I'm passionate about. And I wanted to do this as kind of a personal challenge. And I'm going to do it until it works. I have 2 young children, and I want them to be able to look at me and know that I'm proud of what I'm doing and that I'm passionate about it. And I'm passionate about Bitcoin, and I'm passionate about bringing Bitcoin to the world, because I do believe that it's going to make the world a better place.
Awesome. Matt McBride, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bitcoin custody is evolving, and OnRamp leads this change with multi-institution custody, eliminating single points of failure. Instead of one institution or complex private keys, OnRamp secures your Bitcoin in a segregated, cold storage, multi-sig vault backed by 3 independent, institutional-grade custodians. No single custodian can move funds by themselves, providing an unprecedented level of security that traditional custody solutions simply can't match. Protected by a $100 million Lloyd's of London insurance policy, all transactions are fully auditable on-chain, never rehypothecated, and executed only at your explicit direction. This means complete transparency and control over your assets at all times. Beyond custody, OnRamp delivers comprehensive Bitcoin financial services, including lending, trading, inheritance planning, IRAs, and more. OnRamp functions as your private banking partner, coordinating key holder activity, removing technical burdens, and providing a personalized, trust-minimized experience tailored to your specific wealth preservation goals. Whether you're new to Bitcoin or an experienced holder, OnRamp's approach helps secure generational wealth with unmatched security and peace of mind. Visit onrampbitcoin.com today to learn more, sign up, or book a free consultation with their team of Bitcoin custody experts. Are you looking for comprehensive analytics on corporate Bitcoin adoption? Strategy Tracker delivers real-time insights into how companies are executing their Bitcoin strategies completely free. Monitor NAV premiums, cost basis performance, and track how corporate Bitcoin treasuries perform against the market. Upgrade to premium for just $3.99 a month and unlock exclusive benefits like detailed market rankings, real-time trading volume analysis, and advanced performance metrics for corporations embracing Bitcoin. Apply code KOTZ at checkout for 100% off your first month of premium. Strategy Tracker is your essential tool for measuring the effectiveness of corporate Bitcoin strategies. Visit strategytracker.com and gain the analytical edge in understanding the Bitcoin Treasury phenomenon. Join us at The Win in Las Vegas, February 23rd through the 26th, 2026 for Bitcoin for Corporations. Use code KOTZ when you grab your tickets at strategy.com, and we'll see you there. This episode is brought to you by Arch Lending, the premier provider of crypto-backed loans designed for both individual and institutional investors. At Arch, your digital assets work for you without selling them. Arch offers flexible loan options tailored to your needs. Backed by industry leaders like Morgan Creek Digital, Castle Island Ventures, and Galaxy Ventures, Arch Lending is setting a new standard in crypto-backed lending. Are you ready to unlock the potential of your crypto assets? Visit archlending.com to learn more and configure your loan today. If you've been following the Bitcoin Treasuries podcast for any length of time, you know one thing I can't stress enough is that if you're holding your own keys, that seed phrase backup better be bulletproof. Here's the reality. Paper degrades, ink fades, house fires happen, floods happen. Your handwritten seed phrase on a piece of paper, that's a point of failure just waiting to destroy your financial sovereignty. That's exactly why I've partnered with StampSeed. These guys have figured out the gold standard for seed phrase backup. Permanent titanium plates that you can stamp yourself. We're talking about a metal that can survive temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly triple the heat of an average house fire. What I love about StampSeed is they've made this accessible. You get the complete toolkit with everything you need. The titanium plates, the stamps, the jigs to keep everything aligned perfectly. No guesswork, no special skills required, just permanent, indestructible backup of your financial freedom. And if you're running multi-sig, StampSeed scales beautifully. Buy the base kit, then add as many additional plates as your setup requires. It's the most cost-effective way to properly secure a multi-sig configuration that I've found. Here's a nice touch. They'll even customize the back of your plates. Want your company logo or your wallet identifier, some personal reminder system? They've got you covered. Head over to StampSeed and grab your kit and titanium plates. Now 21% off site-wide with code TIM21. This exclusive conference offer ends on July 11th, so don't miss out. Go to stampseed.com, use code TIM21.